and transition. I will create a new project and we dive in right away. I can see CSS transitions. That will be enough. Open with code. As usual, create our two files, the index.html and the style.css. Okay, we can now connect our CSS to our HTML. Okay, I think we are now connected, and we shall begin with transform. So transform, once we shall have a div, and we shall have a div. We give it a class of maybe box1, and we shall come right away in our body. Should we style the body? Anyway, the display flex, items center, flex direction, a column, and we justify content center. That's okay. Then I can give it a width of about, we normally give it 100 view width. Then we shall target our div. It is div1. It's class div1. So what happens is, after class div1, we come and give it a width. We can say 100 pixels and a height over 100 pixels. We can give it a background color of blue. We can adjust this to some blue, some okay, that green. We can check on this. We go live and we see what we have. Okay, do we have our styles in place? Sure. Let me see, how did we connect our CSS to HTML? I think that's now works fine, should work fine. Okay. Our index.html, style.css, and our body. Can we give a color to our body and we see if our CSS is working? Okay, CSS is connected well. So I think the issue is with this class. It's box1 actually, not div1. Okay, and this is what we have. Okay, so what happens is, I'll make this about 300 pixels, something like this. So what happens with transform? Transform allows you to apply transformations such as scaling, rotating, skewing, and translating elements. So basically I will come onto this and I will transform as a property called rotate, and we can rotate 45 deg, that's 45 degrees. Find that I have this rotating. Can I push this in the middle? Let me add some padding on the body, padding of about 30 pixels, and push it down. I can say items, justify content center, align items center. I need it in the center. Align items in the center. Oh, okay, this is it. So what happens, we normally use this in on hover. So I will target this same box 1, and I will give it a hover property. Then I will apply transform on hover and say this, and on hover the color should be, background color should be red. And let me check, on hover it becomes red. So that is transform rotate. We have also transform, and it is scale. Transform scale, we are resizing the element. We resize, transforming scale, we resize the element. So we are scaling, we scale on the X and on the Y. So what we do is we can scale on the X2 and on the Y2. Let's see what we have on hover. On scale, it becomes big 2 times, and this is what we have. Let's give it 1 to 1, and when we hover, okay, it doesn't. Scaling is changing, resizing it, and when we put 1, it means it won't change. When we put 2 on the X, it means width will be 2 times the initial, and height will remain because we left 1. We can give it maybe 5, the height 5, that's the Y. So this is what happens on hover. We scale, and then after scale we have skew. Skew is we skew an element along the X or the Y axis. So we can say on hover, we can say skew, on hover we can say transform skew, and skew Y, it means on the right. Let me say 2. Okay, nothing happens. Let's just put skew, and on the X2, on the Y2 as well. Okay, skew, really we need to look at what it really does, but then we can proceed to translate. We shall look at that in the end. Okay, we can translate. Translating is moving it from on the X on the Y axis. So we can say transform translate. It means you're moving it from the X, we need it on 2, and on the Y maybe 4. So when we hover, let's refresh, it should transform translate on the X 2. Should we say 2 pixels? It should be 2 pixels and 4 pixels. Yeah, it does. I don't know, but it moves. It does move on the Y. Let me make one about 20 pixels such that we can recognize. Yeah, on the Y it moves, and on the X it does also moves 2 pixels. The same applies to the skew. We had to put pixels and pixels, and can deactivate. We can comment out this, and then this is what we have: skew 2 times on either sides. On the y and x we have 2. Let me remove the scale, it should be confusing us. Okay, then our translate will work well. Okay, it moves down, and on the y and on the x, that is transform, translate. So proceeding furthermore, we have the translate. We can as well give it, okay, that's okay, about 5 pixels. And then we looked at we have to let's look at transition. On hover we can decide to transition. The transition it allows, let's leave this, and transition allows smooth changes between the property values, that is over some time or over a duration. So I can transition, I can decide to transition all, and I can say transition all. Okay, let me first transition transform, and I can say transition transform, transition transform. I can say 0.5 seconds, that is in, and close this spelling, transform. Okay, so when I come here, it will take is it taking effect? This should be 0. Okay, 0.5 seconds. So when I hover over this, it takes 0.5 seconds to go down and come back. I think you can see this. So when we apply that transition and transform of 0.5, we can translate this to about 40 pixels, and then we see. Okay, I think you can see this is a combination of transition and transformation. I think you can see. Okay, then we can proceed furthermore. We have hover, and hover is already what we are using, and we can furthermore use you can translate on the X, you translate or you scale and rotate at the same time. So when I have a box like this, I can come and say transform, and I say translate to that, and then I can say after you scale, I need to scale to 1 and 2. Okay, let's scale 1 to 2, and then after we want to rotate at 15 degrees, that is on hover. So I will remove this and maintain the background color. I can as well leave this transition. I will remove transition, and I will leave 5 seconds is out. So let's see. So we shall have this. Okay, we have 3 things happening. We are translating, we are scaling, and we are rotating. So when I do this, I have something like this. Okay, yeah, that's how we transform, we translate, and use transition in whatever. So we looked at the rotate, that is okay, how to scale and how to skew. Let's try skew again. It happens not to have worked well for us. let's leave the background, and on hover we need skew. Let's give about 20 degrees, and also this to be 20 degrees. Okay, let's see. Okay, here it works well. We use degrees, and when we hover we get something like that. We can add a transition of this, then we see it takes some time. This is nice. So this is it.